The winter of 1944 was honestly merciless. Across Europe, cities were already in ruins from relentless bombing campaigns. Coal stockpiles vanished, rail lines froze, oil became a military commodity, and families were left to survive in partially destroyed homes where broken windows and exposed walls turned rooms into iceboxes. Soldiers on the front lines faced frozen earth, wet clothing, and nights where a single moment of stillness could mean frostbite or death. In this environment, warmth was no longer comfort. It was survival. Today on Warcraft Survival, we're exploring one of the most ingenious and overlooked survival tools of wartime winters, the survival heat candle. If you value serious history and practical survival knowledge, support the channel by liking this video, sharing it with fellow history enthusiasts, leaving a comment about the next survival skill you want uncovered, and subscribing so you never miss these deep dives. Every click helps keep this knowledge alive and accessible. Now, let's get into the strategies and ingenuity that literally kept people alive when winter had become a silent killer. By late 1944, cold itself had turned into a weapon. Allied and Axis bombing campaigns targeted the infrastructure necessary to heat homes, cook meals, and maintain mobility. Gasworks, coal depots, and electrical grids were prime targets. For civilians and soldiers alike, the loss of fuel was devastating. Homes became makeshift refrigerators where wet clothing and frozen floors could incapacitate anyone. Soldiers huddled in trenches or field shelters where damp uniforms and frozen ground made every night a fight for survival. Hypothermia and frostbite surged, turning ordinary winter nights into a lethal opponent. In this context, survival was no longer a matter of courage or discipline. It was about understanding heat, conserving resources, and using creativity to manipulate the smallest sparks into life-sustaining warmth. The survival heat candle did not originate in factories or military labs. It was born wherever desperate people experimented in homes, shelters, and trenches. Ordinary candles produced light, but wasted most of their heat, letting it rise rapidly and vanish. The survival heat candle solved this problem by using simple physics and everyday materials to retain and radiate warmth. A metal container, often a tin can or paint tin, became both a mould and a heat radiator. Metal absorbed the flame's energy and distributed it outward rather than letting it escape into the air. Inside, the fuel core transformed scraps into steady heat. Rolled cardboard or tightly bundled cloth increased surface area, slowing the burn and allowing the flame to radiate consistently. Melted wax, scavenged from candle stubs, was poured over this core. In extreme situations, people used tallow, animal fat, or kitchen grease instead. Wartime manuals suggested roughly 3 parts wax to 1 part cardboard or cloth. Once lit, these candles burned for hours, producing a low, steady heat that could keep hands functional, prevent water from freezing, and dry gloves and socks. For soldiers in trenches, a single heat candle could make the difference between frostbitten fingers and survival. One of the most remarkable aspects of these candles was how innovation spread organically. People discovered that covering a group of heat candles dramatically increased efficiency. By placing 2 or 3 burning cans close together under an inverted clay pot or metal bucket, survivors created a crude heat exchanger. The cover absorbed heat and radiated it slowly across the room or shelter. Families and soldiers independently developed this technique across Europe, showing how quickly effective solutions spread when survival demanded it. Despite the urgency, safety was never ignored. Heat candles consumed oxygen and produced carbon monoxide, a risk that could be just as deadly as the cold. Historical accounts emphasize ventilation as non-negotiable. Survivors placed their candles near cracked doors, broken windows, or open chimneys. The cold was relentless, but respect for fire and airflow was what allowed these candles to save lives. The lesson is timeless. Ingenuity must always be paired with caution. Beyond the physical tool itself, the heat candle embodies a mindset that is just as valuable today as it was back in 1944. Civilians and soldiers refused to surrender to circumstance. They experimented with materials, shared discoveries, and refined techniques in real time. Some added salt to wax to reduce smoke, while others mixed in pine pitch to extend burn time. Each variation was different, but the principle was always consistent: adapt, conserve, and survive. This is the type of thinking that honestly defines effective survival under extreme conditions. Studying and recreating survival heat candles is not just an exercise in nostalgia. It teaches practical principles that really remain relevant in modern survival, including thermal mass, radiant heat, fuel efficiency, and risk management. More than that, it honors the ingenuity and perseverance of people who face conditions most of us can hardly imagine. Every candle burned in those desperate winters carried a lesson in creativity, observation, and determination. For anyone passionate about history, survival, or practical lessons from past conflicts, understanding these techniques provides insight into both human ingenuity and the harsh realities of wartime life. It reminds us that knowledge can be a tool as vital as food, clothing, or fuel. The survival heat candle is more than a relic. It is a testament to human resilience and the power of practical knowledge. If this deep dive into wartime ingenuity resonated with you, make sure to like this video, share it with others who value history, leave a comment about the next survival skill you want to see, and subscribe to Warcraft Survival. History teaches survival, and every lesson we preserve keeps that knowledge alive for the next time it is needed.